That face when you play in a campaign filled with completely unironic local lords. My life is pure suffering. Storytime where it didn't happen. Get hired to go on a quest to escort a guy through half the world back to our quest giver. Make a stop in the first town. The town is being besieged by werewolves. We're checked for bites and subjected to silver tests. So far so good. In order to take a shortcut, have to get permission from the local lord to go through his mountain pass. Have to bribe his castellan with riches in order to get the audience. Go on a side quest to get those riches. Return, bribe the castellan, specifically tell the DM that we use what little money we have left to go to the bathhouse. Visit the local lord right after. Local lord says we stink like death and look like murder hobos. Hey, DM, what's the deal? We said we washed ourselves. Well, you didn't say you changed your clothes, so your character's dressed in their old, stinking clothes. The local lord asks us why should he ever let lowlives like us use his mountain pass. Tell him we're adventurers and he has a werewolf problem. Our cleric has removed curse. Maybe that will help. Local lord sneers and says he has no need of heathen magic when he has his own court mage that can deal with the problem on his own. After insulting us thoroughly, the local lord tells us to GTFO from his town and graciously permits us to use the mountain pass to do it. We begin suspecting he might be a werewolf in disguise, but that theory is debunked immediately when the town is attacked by werewolves next day and we see the local lord fight them personally. Help him defend the town. Local lord asks us not to pollute his land with adventurer stink and leave. What a strange guy. Well, surely he was just one asshole noble and there won't be any others. Right? Wrong. Go through the mountain pass. Keep travelling through the road until we're ambushed by werewolves. The cleric casts Remove Curse on them, which makes them human. 2 turn out to be crazy cultists, but 1 is a peasant woman they've bitten. Promise to escort her until her home village. Continue the path down the road until the DM describes how we see crossbows peeking out of the bushes. Suddenly, armed and armoured men jump out and command us to drop our weapons. We tell them to go fuck themselves. They say they'll attack us if we won't disarm. Yeah, like we're disarming for obvious bandits. Roll for initiative. It's a bloody battle, but eventually we win. The last man standing says we'll hang for assaulting the men of the other local lord. Wait, you're men-at-arms? Not bandits? Then why did you ambush us from the bushes? We needed you to disarm to submit to the bite check. Werewolves prowl here. And why didn't you tell us this? Also, where is your uniform or anything that might signal us you're soldiers? He shows us a tiny insignia on his armour that we had no way of noticing. Then he perishes. The peasant woman leaves us in disgust because we're crazed butchers. How she plans to survive on her own in a werewolf-infested land, she won't tell us. Huh, I guess low-born people are cunts too. Well, let's just continue on our quest. Surely it can only get better from here. It can. Have to take a shortcut through another mountain range to get to our target, but this one is an ancient dwarven city. To those expecting the story about dwarves being dicks too, no, the city is inhabited only by monsters. Unironically, the best part of the campaign. 3 to 4 levels of nothing but pure hack and slash. Not a single NPC in sight to call us unwashed murder hobos. The good news is, when we leave it on level 9, a very respectable level. Our casters can do all sorts of magic now, like resurrecting the dead. The bad news is, we can't stay in the dungeon forever and eventually we do leave. Get to the town where our target lives. Zoinks! Despite us taking every shortcut imaginable, the werewolves, who turns out to have some sort of vendetta against him, got into the city first. He dies a horrible, horrible death. Attempts to resurrect him fail. Have to bring our employer the bad news. I'm sure he'll be reasonable. He doesn't turn out to be reasonable. Calls us incompetent buffoons. You know what? We're level 10 now. We don't have to take this sort of shit. Hey arsehole, if you're so great, why didn't you do this yourself? 2 of 5 party members call the quest giver out on his shit, the other 3 stay silent. Wisely stay silent, because his 20 guards who are present in the room all have crossbows and a surprise round, which I've later found out is not even a thing in this game. With their multiple attacks and the plus 10 attack bonus, they easily kill the complainers. Leave the town without the reward. Okay, that sucked, but there'll be a different quest. And you know what? I feel like becoming a local lord myself. There's not. Here there is a new frontier opening in the distant north. All sorts of men are needed. When we arrived, we found out terrible news. Local lord has been kidnapped, and the bandits rule the countryside. Did I say terrible? This is great news. We'll become local heroes, save the lord, and he'll reward us. Do exactly that. He does reward us with knighthood. Each of us is recognised for his valour. Now that we're knights, we're basically nobility, and a lot of career paths are open to us now. The fighter mentions he was a noble already. Wait, you were a noble this whole time? Didn't hide it and we were still treated like shit? Nah, doesn't matter. We're knights now. And now that we're knights, we have a certain obligations to our liege lord. Our liege lord has heard there's a dragon living nearby with a huge hoard. He wants these treasures for his, well, our new land. Slaying a dragon is no small undertaking. We best prepare. Need to ask villagers about what size he is, what colour, what. What? He never troubled this land before? Well, if he's an evil dragon, he must have troubled some other land, whatever. Let's ask the local prophet if he has any weaknesses. The prophet grants us a vision where that dragon was literally fighting a demon invasion 1,000 years ago and lost his way in combat. So we're given a quest to rob the house of a disabled war vet. The DM can't hide his amusement at this point and says that normally the hero slays the dragon to save someone, but this story is cleverly about killing a dragon for his riches because the heroes are greedy bastards. Ask the DM if we get any agency in the matter, because no one really wants to rob this guy. We don't. Invade the dragon's lair, defeat him, and mercifully let him keep half his hoard as he calls us names and, rightfully, points out that we're robbing him. No moral high ground, but we do have the treasure. Nothing will take that away from us. Yes, I guess we must accumulate power. Speaking of power, amongst the dragon's treasures, find the Goblet of Divine Truth. The legend is, it has the echo of the creator in it, and if you collect 3 of them, you get to reshape the world to your liking. Holy shit, this is it? This is our big break. We must collect all 3 of those and then we will finally get some justice. Turns out we're not the only ones to get this idea. The evil powers who somehow never trouble the dragon attack us for the possession of the goblet. Defeat them and chase them off, but the local lore does have some questions about who were those guys and what did they want? Make the mistake of mentioning the goblet. The local lore calls us idiots for dragging this thing with us and declares that from now on it will be stored in his fief, for safekeeping purposes. The paladin steps out and says a firm no. The local lord reminds the paladin about the chain of command and how, as a knight, he must obey. This is not how feudal contract works, asshole, and the goblet is mine. I mean ours. Local lord orders the paladin's arrest. Remembering how it went the last time, none of us, including the paladin, tried to resist. The goblet is taken from us and the paladin is eventually let go after being stripped of all his lands and titles. We lament how we saved this man and this man's family from bandits, brought order to his land and robbed a disabled war veteran for him, and this is the thanks we get. Should have known better. I really want to get away from this guy in this new frontier. You know, our noble fighter just received an invitation from his father. Something about the crisis of the royal succession. Do you think we should go, guys? Too late? We're going. Visit the father of the noble PC, the local lord, not to be confused with every local lord before that. He treats us like servants, but promises that we will all bask in riches if we follow with his plan. The king is dead, with no heirs. We must crown one of the 2 noble families that are ruling the kingdom during the interregnum. To do that, we must head to the capital. Do just that. Immediately upon arriving, we find out the plot returned to good old werewolves, cultists, goblets, and dark powers. Cultists are summoning an eldritch god near the capital, or whatever. Whole kingdom is under the threat of ruin, and only we are bad enough to put a stop to the apocalypse. Go and do it, or whatever. Imprisoned by the cultists, we find the old king who didn't die at all in a surprising twist. The fighter suggests finishing him off and pretending we've never met him so we can go along with the old plan. An archmage with an army materialises out of nowhere and asks him if he wants to repeat what he just said. Left in single digits hit point each, we reconsider. The king returns to power and we are all summoned by his council, 2 representatives of the ruling families until now, and an old priest. Our buttocks clench as they tell us we'll be rewarded for our heroism. Each of us will become a lord and will be granted land. Specifically, this land. Wait a minute, says Fighter. This is my land. This is my ancestral land. It's already mine. Sucks to be you. We politely refuse. The council politely asks us to never show our faces in this city again, or else. Monk grabs his weapon, but the DM starts describing the armour on the royal guards and we just give up and stop. On our way out, the old priest from the council, who never said a word this entire time, chases us down. He wants to say some words of wisdom as we part ways. Are you ready to hear how this story ends, TG? It's been a long and strange journey until, up this point, from caravan guards we have become knights, then disgraced knights, and finally heroes and saviours of the kingdom. We have defeated a god or something, and still we found no respect or reward. But perhaps, in the old priest's wisdom, we will find some peace. Don't go yet, heroes. It's true that you didn't get what you wanted this day. I'm afraid that those who sit in power are often ungrateful and quick to forget. Your victory has been stolen from you, and in time, it will be forgotten that it was even you who won the day. Perhaps there will be another victory to be won another day, or perhaps your great deeds will never be truly appreciated. But look around, at all these people, and at this beautiful city. Look at each man who toils and lives, yet solely thanks to you. Isn't it everything what any true hero really wants? Our face. When?